I see it changing. China's still a very strong partner, still business there, but a lot of new businesses is moving into Thailand, Vietnam.
When you employ someone, it's probably a person that knows the industry, has got a relative or friend in the industry that they know what it's all about type thing. While you're at home, don't send an email, just pick up the phone and ring. Everyone was too scared to just ring up, which was just weird because we're all friends, we all know each other. There's different peoples with different attitudes and things like that, and sometimes you have to adjust. And sometimes some attitudes are a bit too abrupt, so you need to work on that and get them into your level, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we're a service industry. Number one is our customers.
So COVID was really good in that sort of sense. It helped us with our European shipments more than obviously Asia because we, very close timeline.
Good morning. Today, Around the World in 20 Minutes goes down under to Australia. First discovered back in 1770 by a fine captain, from a fine family may I add, James Cook. Well, that was until of course he realised that people have lived there for many thousands of years. So, from a penal colony to barbecues and beach parties, a great way of life and a thriving economy. Or is it? Let's find out. So, hello again to Gio from SCN Around the World. Welcoming to Austorient. So, who have we got in the house? Shane, Michael, Christina. How are you doing, guys?
Hi, David.
Hello, David.
Hello. So for the first time, we've got like sort of more than one person on one of these calls. So we'll see how that works out afterwards. From Melbourne and Sydney. So how do Melbourne and Sydney compare? Which one's the best place to live in?
It's at the moment it's 33 degrees down here, so cool change is coming.
Yeah, I'm in my shorts and t-shirts. So it's going to be freeze tomorrow, and then Friday 30-something degrees, and I'm going to my beach house and lay by the pool and the beach. So I don't care what happens in Melbourne.
So tough life, eh? Tough life. Just before this call, I was in conversation with somebody who wanted to remain anonymous, and I asked her, somebody who's actually from Sydney, I said, how does Sydney and Melbourne compare, and what's Melbourne like? And she said, great coffee, great food, the weather is shit. So that's like basically a quote from somebody in Sydney there. So anyway, but anyway,
that's correct.
Yeah.
But we're not here just to talk about the weather. How's business? Are people like buzzing over there in Australia? You've got like an economy which is, I don't know, people are kind of envious of you, I suppose, because it's quite a nice lifestyle there as you transmit it to the rest of the world, I think. Lots of beach parties and barbecues. Is life truly like that? Or do you actually work and have a hard time?
Well, I shouldn't have because I feel like I'm semi-retired, but business is hard. We've had a few good years, but at the moment it's a freight war on, and the economy's slowed down, and the media, it's all doom and gloom, and the cost of living is just on. Everybody talks about it, and because it's in the media. We've had clients that are slowed down, and they're looking to reduce their costs, and they come to us and showing us competitors probably, virtually at costs, and some of them asking for like 60 days credit and all sorts of things. It's a little bit of a work through the webs of what's correct and what's not correct at the moment. Some of those are loyal clients who are there for a long, long time. So that's more the worry.
I mean, before we go on to the clients, when you say cost of living is like really expensive, I mean, house prices, food, everything's...
House prices...
It's just a long way away. It's logically going to cost a lot to get anything over to you guys, yeah?
Oh, well, that's right, but the cost of just out of control. Well, let's say it has been for a long time. Overseas people are coming in and buying and making a lot of money out of buying houses here. But that's slowed down. COVID, we think, would have slowed it down completely, but probably did the opposite. More so outside Sydney and, well, more in Victoria where Melbourne is, but a lot of people can work from home. So the lifestyle of living on the beach or coastal towns become attractive. So those towns were cheap and money there for retiree people. So suddenly their prices are similar as Sydney prices.
But that's pushed people out from Sydney City down out to the surrounding towns as well to just live and work out there, or what?
They can work with a lot of people coming back to the office these days. So, but it's still, they work, 2 or 3 days in the office and some from home. So, okay, housing is expensive. Our interest rates went up. Borrowing $1 million, struggling to repay it.
But you've still got like a lot of employment, low unemployment there, and growth that's happening as well. So, do you get the sensation that if you want to work, you can work, and you can get by in life well, or how's that?
I think that's been like that for the last 10, 15 years. It's been always around.
Correct.
I think it's a little bit tougher right at the moment, but if you really go looking, you can find work. Sometimes it's a little bit. The main cities, regional areas is a little bit harder, but no, I think there's still a lot of work around if you really go looking for it.
Okay, right. I mean, you mentioned like people working from home, as in after COVID, whatever. I mean, how's that hit you as a company, not in terms of profitability, in terms of company identity? You're finding it okay to get hold of people and attract younger people into the companies, or are you just like hanging on to the more established staff? That's
my issue with that. Look, I'm very, very fortunate that we've had good staff, and staff have been with us for a long, long time. So, some of them have been there for 30 years, so we trust and all the rest of it. And, young Christina there, she works her butt off. So I don't have an issue with that. Certain people can be distracted working from home. I see future-wise, if you want to bring a young person in as a trainee and work them, through the systems, as we all, and make friends in the industry, and that's how you create your identity and find jobs or whatever in the industry. I've got no one in the office. How am I supposed to train them? How am I supposed to teach them? Yeah. I think that's like a problem worldwide, and not just in logistics as well, many other places as well. How do you train and install a company culture, should we say, in a young person coming into the company? I mean, let's face it, it's not the same as when we started off. You're not like sifting through Excel sheets of rates and typing out bills of lading like we did in the old days, whatever. But even so, I mean, the tasks have changed, but also the mentality, I think, of the younger people has changed as well, and coming into both the industry and work in general, I would say. Yeah? Oh, I totally agree with that. But we're still a people industry, so they have to communicate, and they're still going to be trained. They're still going to have experienced people around to teach them.
Is that happening down you in Melbourne? You've got a smaller office down there than Sydney, but I mean the same issues there as well. Like younger people having a hard time to mix into the company, or you have a hard time finding them, or how's it work, Michael?
It does. I mean, the young people. I mean, I think when you're looking for new staff, you always sort of tend to get someone which is at least minimum of 2 years experience, like they know the groundwork type thing. So it's a good head start. I've been in a situation where we've actually had an opportunity to actually employ, just had enough and just employed people which worked at various professional companies, like McDonald's, for argument's sake, one girl. And within 6 months, I said to her, in 6 months, you'll be coming to me and telling me what options we got for this shipment, what we need to do and this and that, not coming to me and asking me, what do we do? And after 6 months or so, and look, that's, as Shane said, with the experience us senior people have got, without the younger people knowing, we're training them every day, talking to them every day. That's why they've got to be in the office. And I remember a young girl, basically, she came into my office. We had an issue with a couple of shipments. We're talking of big dollars, if we go left side or right side. And she came in with the options and everything. And I said, well, listen to you. 6 months have gone and listen to you. You're telling me what we're going to do and what I think about it, which is great. And that's what you want, because they can't always rely on us. I mean, we could be out of the office, we could be overseas or whatever. So the office still has to run. But it is hard to get young people in this industry. Like we discussed the other week, a lot of general people don't know what international logistics is, even though they realise that for Australia, we're such an importing nation now. I saw the duty rates with countries are duty-free, and we just pay the government GST tax, 10% on a CIF value. And so when you employ someone, it's probably a person that knows the industry, has got a relative or friend in the industry that they know what it's all about type thing. Staff-wise in the office, I mean, I've been fortunate. I've got very supportive staff. I support them back when they start. An old wise man told me a long time ago, which my grandfather Talk to people like you want to be spoken to. And no matter if the situation goes haywire or whatever, a mistake is made, let's address the mistake, explain why the mistake had happened, and let's fix it so they learn not to do it again. Things like that. So it's a daily thing. And actually training young staff over the years, I've actually quite enjoyed it. And if you show your young staff that you've got their back, they've got your back in a sense. Of course, look, there's different peoples with different attitudes and things like that, and sometimes you have to adjust. And sometimes some attitudes are a bit too abrupt, so you need to work on that and get them into your level, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we're a service industry. And number one is our customers. In Melbourne, as Shane said, we've got customers ever since I started. When was it? Tuesday. 26 years I've been there. So, from the beginning, those early beginnings, we still got clientele that when I first started. And the referrals that we get from those clients for other businesses is the best sales lead you can ever get. The staff itself in Melbourne, myself and Helmut, we're always in the office 5 days a week. The rest of the staff, another 5 staff, they're in the office 3 days a week. So they alternate. And some have got children and things like that. But the one thing when it all started, I put a point there that when they log on, they email good morning to everyone. I make them commit to when they log on, and I say good morning to everyone. The rest of the staff don't do it. And it's just showing respect, even though you're working at home. Hey, I'm online, I'm working like you're in the office. And the one thing that COVID had an issue with, as far as Melbourne is concerned, is that when everyone went to home for 5 days a week, there were certain staff that they didn't know how to pick up a mobile phone and ring their colleague and ask the question and talk about a situation. They wasted their time doing emails, and that's where the trouble started. So I had to get them into the office and talk to them and set that record straight. I said, you've got a mobile phone, you live on it, so you talk to each other from desk to desk and you fix the problem within 2 minutes because you're there on the spot. So while you're at home, don't send an email, just pick up the phone and ring. So there was an issue there for about good 5 to 6 months that I had to address, you know what I mean? So everyone was too scared to just ring up, which was just weird because we're all friends. We all know each other, you know what I mean? So we're all in the same situation. We're all striving for the same goal and, service that customer, to track the shipment, ship it, advise the customer every step along the way and so forth. So, COVID was a learning curve for everyone. Certain businesses are still suffering from it. The public service in Victoria, like every state in Australia, has its own government, even though we've got a government in Canberra governing the whole Australia. It's a bit weird. It's because each state government puts down their own laws. So the state government is wanting public servants to come into the office. And if they don't do it, well, basically they don't have a job. So they're going the way of Donald Trump. So, and I think they have to, and the majority of public offices are in the city. And the thing is, Melbourne City, I must admit, pride on it. It's a great city to go out at night and dancing, movies, live show, theatre, casino, the whole bit. But since COVID, it's slowly graduating. So coming back to what it used to be. Not the same, for argument's sake, you've got 1 million people in the city before COVID. Now you've only got maybe 200,000. So the city suffered from it, but it's coming back slowly. And this weekend we've got the Grand Prix, the Melbourne Grand Prix. So that's going to, things like that will bring people together into the city. Where the majority of staff, we don't live in the city, we don't go in the city, we only go into the city area for going out, theatres, casino, whatever. We live in the suburbs, 20 to 30, 40 kilometres away. So we don't need to go into the city. There's big shopping centres and all sorts of things around in the suburbs to cater for the population in those suburbs. So the city life, where years ago we used to go 2-3 times a week, we don't anymore. Maybe once a week.
That's all right.
Yeah, come on.
Is that you too, Christina? You're in Sydney, Christina, yeah? do you find the same
city.
situation
So I'm about 20 minutes away from the actual city. Very rarely I go in the city. As Michael said, the suburbs have its own shopping centres and, anything like that, even like movies and whatnot. Me personally, I've got young daughter still, so spend my weekends she plays soccer, so that's my weekend's gone anyway. But yeah, go to
And
the
do you go
city.
to the office 5 days a week, or how often are you in the office, Christina?
Once a week now at the
Right, okay.
moment.
And do you miss that, though, the vibe of like of having people around the office, or is it just something you've got used to, you'd say?
I miss the people, but I'm not scared to ring. I'm I'm always on the phone, really. Myself and Yong, from the start of COVID, the first thing we do is ring each other, go through our emails and, who's doing what and what not. So we would spend a good hour on the phone first thing in the morning, sorting all those out. And then if I had an issue, or often ring Michael, Shane, Steve as a sales rep, So I find I quite enjoy talking, as you probably know. But yeah, on the phone, it doesn't.
Yeah, so people say, yeah.
I know, but yeah. But I'd rather pick up the phone and get it all sorted than send an email and having to wait for a reply. Just get it over and done with, sort it out. Next move on to the next one.
Yeah, the problem is that you guys go to bed when everyone is awake as well, just being on the wrong side of the world. Do you not find that a bit of an issue, or
that was the best thing about COVID, because you actually. I would be cooking and yet, speaking or, emailing it with European countries and getting all that sorted. And, it didn't bother me at all. So, and you'd say, look, I'm on, I need this sorted, and they would do whatever they needed to do within their timeline, and I'd go in and, and talk to them so that in the morning we would have an answer for the clients. So COVID was really good in that sort of sense. It helped us with European shipments more than obviously Asia, because we, very close timeline. But yeah, I found that was good.
Have you noticed business shifting? You mentioned Europe, Asia. You guys are having a bit of a tussle with the States at the moment, I understand, on some duties. You're not alone with that. I mean, are you noticing? I mean, you've obviously been working a lot with Asia, some with Britain and the rest of Europe, whatever. Are zones of areas where you work with changing, or do you just mainly continuing on as ever?
Do you want me to answer that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go Shane.
I see it changing. China's still a very strong partner, still business there, but a lot of new businesses is moving into Thailand, Vietnam. We're not much in India as yet, but it probably will come. But yeah, Indonesia, these places, there's a lot more interest in that. Yes, Europe is getting stronger for us as well, and some people that were shipping out of China are reduced that and gone into more Eastern Europe.
What about products? What sort of product lines? Everything or anything you guys focus on in Austorient?
The garments and things are still strong in China, but that's the same thing. It's moving to other areas.
Like furniture, Latvia, for example, has become very popular for furniture. Panels, the panels that go on buildings, the non-flammable ones. We've had a lot of problems with flammable panels, as the UK and whatnot has. That's gone to Hungary. Those kind of products, I feel.
They're moving on a bit more diversification, but still working with everybody. That sounds good in that case.
Yeah, the thing is also, David, with Melbourne clients, as Shane mentioned, we've got over the last 7 to 10 years have actually moved freight out of the UK, out of Germany, out of Berlin, out of Turkey, and those places where 15 years ago you're lucky if you had a shipment every 3 months. That certain clients deal in certain products have to actually source it worldwide, and they've actually done their homework, they've spent their money travelling overseas and to buy the product and quality control it. And I can speak for the clients in Melbourne, and like out of the UK, we're bringing in hops to make beer, and this customer supplies the boutique beer industry in Australia and in Asia, and we're bringing in something like about 10 to 15 40-foot containers a month out of the UK of hops. And these hops, I mean, one container is worth $250,000 US. It's ridiculous. But anyway, it's just a plant, for God's sake. Well, but it makes a lot of beer.
Quick answer to your question on that, because the world, I think, has got smaller. And this is where SEN come into it, because, as you know, our history has always been in Asia, because we were very strong in the rag trade. So now that we're diversified in different products, a different style of clients, SN comes into it, because that's open Europe and parts of the world that we didn't really deal in the past. So that's why the membership has been very good for us.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Let's see if we can keep all that up as well in that case. Okay, right. So, anyway, what have we not spoken about? What's happening in your lives over there, which we haven't spoken about so far in that case? Michael, anything you're up to in Melbourne, which we should know about, you think?
Well, we've actually, as I spoke to you last week, David, with my colleague Helmut, who's taking care of the motorsport logistics. He's moving 3 to 5 cars a week, export, import. We brought in cars, historic cars for the Grand Prix, for the Formula One Grand Prix this weekend. 2 of them came from the UK, a Morgan and a Lotus. Beautiful cars. I'll send you an email pictures. I sent pictures to Christina and Shane earlier today, and they raced them at Phillip Island, where they have the Formula One motorbike Grand Prix.
Those are the vehicles you were talking about, which had a long delay in Singapore as well. Did you get them out on time? Kind of.
The vessel arrived on Thursday evening. We got the container off the vessel at 3 o'clock in the morning. As soon as it was unloaded off the vessel, put down, the truck was there. We moved heaven and earth with quarantine because you've got to book an overtime officer for the weekend. They don't work. You've got to book it in. And we got an officer who was willing to go on Saturday. They get double, triple time. And the container was unpacked at 8 o'clock in the morning. Quarantine inspected at 9 o'clock. Our 2 customers who owned the car, we told them to come down there, to be there at 8. The inspection took 15 minutes, and then back there on the road again to Phillip Island, which is probably about 85 kilometres away from Melbourne. And at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they were both on the racetrack racing, and the Lotus came second in its race, and the Morgan came third in its race. And these guys they're Englishmen. We really felt for these guys. You know, they've paid a lot of money to actually enter in these races and match up with the Grand Prix. And the shipping line, unfortunately, our agent in the UK, which organised it, this 40-foot container left on a vessel, left London on the 30th of December, and it only arrived last Thursday. So it took over 3 months to get here. It was in Singapore for over 2 months, and the shipping line just would not connected on a connecting vessel doing Singapore, Australia. We don't know why. Phone calls up to head office, the whole bit. I won't say the shipping line, but the staff here in Melbourne were very good. They were very sympathetic. But at the end of the day, it was a great relief. In 8 hours, we got the cars off the ship and down to the racetrack. So things like that. So it's a lot of work, a lot of time. I mean, Helmut spent basically 2 months on this, working off and on. So in Melbourne, I mean, I'm quite proud of the fact that, apart from the general freight that we do and help our Sydney office, and they help us, and also they help us with the cars we put into Sydney, to Brisbane, whatever. I'm quite proud that is a standalone department on its own. So it's quite good. And that's never stopped, as I said, for the past 12, 14 years. We're always moving cars every week, which is great. So we've got a good bunch of clientele. And of course, with, as Shane said, very loyal customers stay on board with us. They tell us other forwarders get in there. The loyal ones tell us the truth. We've got similar rates. As Shane said, we've got situations where some forwarders go in at net, get them on board loose for a month, and then they rip them off on the next month, so to speak. So, and our customers know that. They know. They don't bother anymore. We know the customers that they're bringing in $100,000, $200,000 shipment, and they're worried about $100, for God's sake. Yeah. But we make sure that their container is not bumped. It's on board the ship. We tell the customers that everyone's booking on that low rate, $600. If you pay $850, you're guaranteed that container will get here. So you won't guarantee if you pay $600, it could stay there for another 2-3 weeks. Then the port terminal in Asia will charge a demurrage, things like that. So we're up front, we're honest, always been like that. And working with the Falbergs, they've always been honest with us and their staff. And I think it's flowed on to the rest of the staff and the way we do business. Because we want our customers to be our partners. And that's the way I've always worked. We handle their shipments, we deliver their shipments, they can sell their goods, they deliver their goods. It's a win-win for both of us. We use that sort of philosophy. We don't just shut the door, okay, the container's delivered and that's it. You know what I mean? We're always conscious of always that contact and that constant contact and that friendship that we have with each other. So as a customer, and that's what keeps them on board. So yeah, it's been good.
Adding to that, what I've seen over the years have changed a bit is accountants. accountants have a lot more say in their business. They're brought in to change the way they do things, the way they operate, and cost saving. And obviously they get bonuses of where they can save their money for the company. And often I get a phone call from a new accountant, join the company, and ring me up, Shane, I hear good things about you, and can you come and see me? And I know straight away from that point, I'm about to lose the business. Business competitor or friend in the competitor or whatever, and he puts it out to me that I've got to drop the cost by 10, 20%. I said, mate, I don't even make 20%. I said, I'm lucky make 10%. I said, yeah, let's talk, but I'm not sure how this is going to end up.
Yeah, it just comes in the end like everyone's on a short snippet of a conversation. Price, we want something cheaper, whatever. But the delicacies and the problems which come with logistics, if you're there to sort them out, if they're willing to talk to you a bit more, in that case, that's a different conversation.
That's right. If it's it's not broken, what are you trying to fix? And if I was the cheapest in the business, you would never respect me anyway.
Absolutely. Okay, right. Well, I'm going to let you guys get back to your barbecues, your beach lifestyle, and your happy way of life. Yeah. Okay. We'll say goodbye to you. Glad to know that Austorient is keeping clients happy over there and keeping yourselves busy.
Okay. We'll see you.
I hope so. Certainly, get yourselves over to Istanbul. Istanbul is very well connected. Do you have direct flights there? You have a flight via Singapore, I think you have there.
Probably via Singapore, but I'm thinking of adding on a trip. Not sure where yet. I had a conversation with Murray last night from New Zealand, and I put it to him to bring his wife, and we'll turn into a holiday as well.
Sounds good. Well, we'll see you in a few months in Istanbul in that case then.
Okay.
No worries.
Great stuff. Okay. Thank you very much,
David.
Okay, right.
See you, David.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.